Welcome to the WAN show, guys. It's our usual rigmarole where we have a bunch of stuff to talk about, and you guys are hopefully going to listen and participate. And I mean, if you don't listen, that's fine, but just please leave your browser open so that we get the credit for you listening.
Hooray!
One way or the other.
In that random browser that you don't use, just never shut off your computer. Just leave it minimized and always have it online as tech.
I'm going to
Twitch TV.
scooch over a little bit. I don't think we ever actually got Brandon to fix the framing here, so if you want to just kind of scooch in a little bit, you can see that we're a little bit off at the moment. So we have some great topics for you today, guys. The first up is, does the NSA have ties with Bitcoin? Is that a thing? I'll let that percolate for a moment.
I was gonna say, I expected you to flow to the next topic.
No, come on. That's a huge topic. That's hugely important.
I agree. That's why I spent a bunch of time looking at it.
Next one, and this probably doesn't deserve to be a headline, but we thought it was pretty funny. If there's anyone from Samsung watching, guys, we actually could help you with this in all likelihood, make better commercials.
Way better.
Because man, they have made some bad commercials in the last year or so. Their new Galaxy Gear one. Oh, this isn't a Gear. This is a smartwatch that doesn't suck. Oh, sorry. Whoa! Shots fired. Anyway, sorry. So Samsung, we're going to talk about their latest commercial. We have our special guest, Soldier Knows Best, a.k.a. Mark Watson, or probably the other way around. Mark Watson, a.k.a. Soldier Knows Best. I don't think his parents named him Soldier Knows Best.
That would be epic, though.
That would be awesome.
That should be the new thing. Instead of, tomato and buttercup, it should be, Soldier Knows Best.
Yeah, we could start a trend. We could see if we could, you know how people want trending topics on Twitter? They want, their topic to trend.
Oh my god, your kid's name could be, hashtag...
Trending names on, the charts for most popular names. We have to do that.
That would be amazing. Okay, we also have Riot Games is restricting League of Legends players to what games they can play while they're streaming. And you can buy an artificial heart in certain countries for around 200,000 American dollars.
Around 200,000 American dollars. Well, I'm just going to buy, 7 of them, just in case.
Why not?
Are we what? Are we not live?
The WAN
We're theoretically broadcasting right now.
It's not showing up on my browser.
That's sort of...
Is this on?
And people are like, it's not there. Why is it
404.
Uh...
GG. That was a pretty good intro, too. Thanks, Razor Comms. Apparently Whiskers just started playing Mass Effect 3. You can leave now.
Apparently we're on now. What?
There's no video. Oh,
Nope,
we're good?
We're up.
We're up. So, is that 60-second delay now?
Wow! Is it 4 minutes now? Alright!
The 60-second delay is just slowly, progressively getting worse.
Awesome!
Because fan interaction wasn't hard enough with a 60-second delay, they just had to make it even bigger.
Yeah, we should just have a 6-minute delay.
Just so we can ask a question, and then do an entire topic, and then get the answers to your question.
Yeah, in Twitch chat, no less, which is... not. I mean, Twitter will actually be faster, except no, because there'll be delay there too. Anyway, you had another topic, I'm sure.
Okay, so I don't even know where people are at, but... Actually, no, I didn't.
No, you didn't. That was it.
topics.
Intro time. Boom!
Is it gonna work?
So guys, just a reminder, our sponsors this week are Hotspot Shield, the easy, fast way to get set up with a VPN, and Intel. You can get a free copy of Rome 2 Total War with the purchase of a qualifying 4th generation unlocked Core i5 or Core i7 processor. And of course, when I say qualifying and then I put a couple more qualifiers on it, I am of course speaking specifically about the 4670K and the 4770K. It may have been just as easy for them to say, buy one of these two processors and get a copy of Rome 2 Total War included. So
some people just finished the intro when you started. When you started finishing your little sentence there, some people had loaded. Like I loaded the intro when the intro was done.
Cool.
So there's just like random, I don't think it's 60 seconds, it's like 10, 30, 60, 4 minutes, I don't know.
I don't know. Who
You're
knows?
wherever the heck you are at, and that's about it.
Speaking of places that you can be at a brand new heart.
Is that a place?
Okay, that was probably stretching a little bit for a for a transition there. But at any rate, we're going to head over to Linus's screen where we're going to show everyone Linus's personal information. Oh, no, wait, no, there's none of that here today. Okay, not too bad. So this was posted on the forum by our special member, I am Jizd. Anyway, okay. The original article is from The Verge. We're going to pop back over to my screen here. So this, my friends, is an artificial heart. This is being produced by Carmat, or I guess it would be Karma, because it's a French company. And it has been successfully transplanted into a human being for the first time. So there are actually several countries where you could, I guess, qualify. Right now, it's still very much in experimental stages, but you could actually qualify to receive one of these hearts.
So you have to qualify to receive one of them.
Well, right now it's in trials, so it's only for people who are at like the end stage of heart failure and they're gonna die anyway. So they're.
I've always wondered about that with certain medications and stuff, where they're like, "No, we won't let people take it," and the person's like, "I'm gonna die in a day.
Yeah, no.
Can I try this?" That
that's the
doesn't
thing.
always apply, but luckily it does in this situation.
Yeah, so there are some challenges though. So of course the cost of $200,000 will be a bit of a challenge. Yay, Canada. Hopefully that gets covered by MSP.
I hope. Watch them just be like, "Nope, we're just not going to do this at all."
No, you can have like the knockoff heart that rather than including cow tissue is just a
It's
cow
just
heart.
only-
It's like, but
yeah.
it doesn't fit in my chest cavity. What am I going to do?
It's like, nope, they just build like a little bridge around it.
That would be awesome. Iron
Just
Man
have
style.
one huge peck. It's just like, sup.
Yeah, and it should have like a glowing light on it, Iron Man style.
yeah.
That would be amazing.
That'd actually be, I'd be so down.
That'd be kind
Have
of
like
awesome.
a super overly powerful heart that glue all the time.
So anyway,
What?
speaking of being overly powerful, it actually only lasts for 5 years, which isn't to say that it would definitely not last longer than that. It's just to say that that's as long as it is guaranteed to last. So $200,000 every 5 years amounts to, I can't do math, I'm
lot.
sorry, for $35,000 a year or something along those
Somewhere
lines.
around there.
Somewhere in that range.
But I
40,000 a
think-
year.
I think the idea is more you
40.
get one and then hopefully you get through the queue to get a real heart.
And there's an interesting thought. You brought this up earlier. So could we be looking at a future where we're not necessarily turning people into the $1 Million Man every other day and replacing all of their organs with fake stuff, but as things start to fail, could you use an artificial one for a little while until a donor comes up? Like, could we use this to keep people alive and then pass it along to the
essentially.
next one?
So I was thinking even the most volatile parts in this, obviously I haven't done like an engineer's analysis, but from just reading about it, I would assume would be the valves and stuff that are made out of the tissue from the sac of the cow heart. So what I was thinking is if you take it out, like if the person doesn't need it anymore and they get a real heart, the next person down in line could take it, they replace the...
Refurb heart.
They refurb the parts that are used up, like the cow tissue parts, and then put it in the next person. It's just like... I don't know. If it saves someone's life, like, it's kind of gross, but if it saves someone's life, that's cool. Like, I don't know. I'm down.
Unless it saved Hitler's life.
And then that's not... Well, he's dead.
Unless that movie. All right, you know what? We were going to do this topic later, but I think we're going to have to get into this now.
I'm so down.
I
oh
think
my
it's
God,
stupid.
I'm so down. I think it's amazing. I'm probably going to back it.
It might be amazing, but it's also phenomenally stupid. So I'm going to go ahead and fire this up here,
But
guys.
sometimes stupid is what we need.
Hopefully my volume is correct here, guys. Sorry, I'm going to screen share with you for a minute. This might take me just a moment to set up. Okay, that was from a different stream, so we're going to go ahead and move that. No, I know it's not working right now. Just hold on. Okay,
just wondering what
this
you're doing.
one. There we go. Oh, hold on. Yeah, no, everything's
You
good.
already-
Bloop. All right, here we go, guys. Kung Fury. It's about a 2-minute long trailer. We might just skip through it a little bit here. Actually, I think we can probably just look at the opening scene. That might be all we need to know.
Permit right here.
All units, we have an ongoing shootout at 24th and Northwest Street.
I'm on it. Kung Fu Renegade Kong.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry.
He's a Kung Fu Renegade.
So, this is on Kickstarter, and I mean, if Far Cry Blood Dragon was parody, this is just mockery, I guess. But they seem to be taking it
The right direction.
the right amount of serious. I'll give them that. So they want to make this. They're asking for 200,000, which is actually really not
By
that
now,
much.
they might have even made it. Yep, they made it.
They actually made it sometime between when we were preparing our document for today and...
When I checked earlier, they needed $7,000 more. Now they're over by,
28 days to go. Actually, okay, so I didn't actually show you guys the part of the trailer that will make my joke make sense. So that was where there we go. The evil nemesis.
He goes back in time and...
Adolf Hitler, a.k.a. Kung Fu-er.
Hitler. He's the worst
I
criminal
love the
of all
hacker,
time.
too.
This is the kind of movie where you'd probably just kind of, I think it'd be hard to sit and watch by yourself.
Yeah.
But if you have, a bunch of, goofy friends and you're all, hanging around, having fun and doing whatever it is that, we do behind closed doors, then it'd be the kind of thing that I think would be pretty fun to watch together. But not probably the kind of thing that I'd, sit down with my wife and watch. So
No, probably not.
Different movies.
Unless your
for
wife
different-
is goofy and
She's
likes that kind of stuff.
Really not.
No, I
Actually,
know.
I tweeted something the other day that was pretty funny. It was something like, me, why don't you think my jokes are funny? You used to think my jokes were funny. And she's like, no, I didn't. I mean, humor was really not the way that I won her over, but I thought, I think she's pretty funny. I had someone on Twitter get very concerned about my wife not appreciating my humor, but I think that particular viewer can rest assured that our relationship can handle a little bit of back and forth playful banter.
And I was going to say, and you both have, your own sense of humor and it works.
Yeah, I had just finished taking a shot at her for being a little bit on the bigger side, so you know how it is.
She's not.
Yeah, she's not. So. And I'm hilarious, and she was making a joke about me not being funny, so I guess... Yeah. All right, so you know what? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about the whole hearts thing. How would you feel about a second-hand heart? Hit us up on Twitter, and we'll have a look at what you guys think about that.
Because, okay, would it be any worse than getting a literal second-hand heart? Because otherwise, the dude died and you took his organ. Now it's the dude luckily didn't die and you get to utilize something that he no longer has to utilize.
Well, now hold on just a minute. Let's talk meantime between failure. Okay? Because the human heart will have, an MTBF of whatever. Let's say 70 years. Who cares? Okay, so we'll just come up with a number. 80 years. Whatever.
Sure, whatever.
Okay, before that'll fail. Depending on... Your mileage may vary, of course.
Yeah.
Depending on how,
There's a pretty big variance there.
Used it is. Did they drop that hard drive? Did they put a pickaxe through that monitor?
What pickaxe, dude?
Did they, what could you, did they, eat Big Macs, from the day they found out they were going to die?
They just, shove fat through their water cooling?
Yeah, just put that in the IV. How abused was this heart? So, okay, that versus the artificial one, which is, rated for 5 years of operation. So do you want a used heart that would have potentially lasted longer, but you don't know how long it had, really? Or would you want, a new one, but that's used a bit, but that's refurbed?
I'm thinking... I don't know, to be completely honest.
Let's let them tell us.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's hold that thought.
Yeah.
Okay, so once they're done, you can say what your take on this is.
Sure.
All right. So let's go ahead and move into our next topic here, which is R9 290Xs with aftermarket coolers are showing up on Newegg. So let's go ahead and pop this open here. This was posted by Nathan Tech on the forum. And actually, just give me one moment here, guys. Bloop. Alright, posted by...
1 moment, please.
1 moment, please.
Technical difficulties.
Imagine, what, on this show?
Never.
Never, not today.
Not today.
But this is not this day! There will come a time when the courage of Linus Tech Tips fails! Anyway, so it's a it's a Gigabyte WinForce card. If it's anything like other WinForce cards we've seen in the past, it probably uses a non-reference cooler, but a reference PCB, but they have cleverly concealed the back of the card from us, so we actually aren't 100% sure exactly what this is, but I'd be surprised if it is a non-reference PCB. Gigabyte hasn't really done too much of that over the last little while, but...
Which is nice and not nice, because you can easily water cool it and stuff.
Wait a minute. This is an R9 290. What are they talking about? They said 290X in the thread. All right, Nathan Tech, you're in trouble. Well, I don't... What is this X? Does this mean not X to Nathan? All right, well, whatever. It's an R9 290. You know, I'm less excited about this than I was back when R9 290 launched. Do you want to sort of talk about the methodology? I think the most important thing, we just did an overclocked test, okay? So we took our GTX 780 and our R9 290 and overclocked them both as high as we could on their stock reference coolers. Then we took those same two cards, liquid cooled them with the same custom liquid cooling solution and overclocked them as high as we could and saw what kind of results we got. And I'd like to take a moment to clarify the way that we overclock, because there are a lot of overclocking results out there for these cards that just aren't the way that we overclock cards. So we'll have people say, oh, well, you guys are like 100 megahertz lower than you should be on that card. Well, you know what? We run into a lot of situations where there's 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 games that all run just fine at a particular overclock, but then the one game that crashes can't handle anywhere near that speed for whatever reason. Maybe it's drawing more power, maybe it's... We don't know. A lot of the time it seems to be a total mystery. But the point is we believe an overclock is not stable unless it's stable.
Always stable.
Always stable. So talk a little bit about the methodology and why a non-reference 290, or at least a non-reference cooler, might not be that exciting right now.
So one thing is that we set all of our overclocks at 1600p as well. So even if I'm running the benchmarks at 1080p and you see all the 1080p benchmarks, those overclocks were set at 1600p.
Stable's not stable unless it's stable at all resolutions in all games.
So even if I'm scaling down, the overclock stays, and I would traditionally be able to get that overclock higher because it's easier for it to run 1080p, but I don't because it wouldn't be always stable, and I try it in all the hardest possible games to run. A synthetic benchmark is usually easier to run, and I've found, and will cause less crashing than a game will.
Yeah, anyone who validates an overclock for a review with a synthetic benchmark, take that with a big grain of salt, because we found, I mean, back when I was flashing GTX 265s, were they? The Golden Edition ones from MSI, yeah. You could flash those to a 270 or something like that, and initially I had been validating them with firmware to make sure that they were stable with the new BIOS, and then I discovered at the time that that was a flawed methodology and you had to actually use games in order to validate them. That made the process take a lot longer, but by then I had committed to do it.
So we've found quite a few times that even one game will throw it off kilter, or it won't even necessarily crash, but you'll start seeing errors, like very noticeable errors, and it's like, okay, I need to tone this down, and I'll pull it back a little bit and wait until I actually see it be completely stable for the entire run through with a whole bunch of idle time beforehand, because I let the card heat up completely, and then I run the benchmark to make sure that if you were gaming for a long period of time, it's not just going to randomly shut off on you. Yeah, I think that's all I had to really explain for the...
Oh, I was trying to ban someone just now, and I had some difficulty. I might have clicked the wrong person there.
If you go find... The best way to do it is copy and paste their name, or just read their name and then type /ban space their name. Sweet. Then you don't click the wrong one. Because there's no pause button for the chat, so it's impossible to use the actual buttons to moderate people. Because
got it!
Just,
I'll show you impossible.
Actual ban is the right one.
Yeah, I know.
Ban is the left one.
Yeah, I'd banned some guy who kept typing some annoying. At least I tried.
Oh my
Boom! Got him! All right. Okay, so here we go, guys.
So what we found with the 290 is that while it hits that certain temperature, there is more overclocking headroom, but when you remove the thermal limit, what you actually run into very quickly is it doesn't have enough power. I can't shove enough power at it to get it that much faster. So what I'm excited for is some type of aftermarket PCB, which is going to have some type of custom power so that I can get that thermal limit down with the aftermarket cooler, which should get it away from that 95 degrees, and then actually have custom power to ramp it up even more.
Yeah, so we're maybe not that excited about WindForce, but we're pretty excited about maybe something like a direct CU2 card from ASUS.
Yeah. That's actually the one I'm really excited for, because usually those will have custom power.
All right, so we're going to have our guest segment pretty soon, but let's take a little while here to go through some of your tweets about used hearts. So just as a reminder, guys, if your tweet does not actually include anything about used hearts, then we won't be addressing it at this time. What's the point with crashing kernel drivers? See, that is not related to hearts. Sounds like a great idea, but could there be incompatibilities with different heart sizes? I think heart sizes are similar for the most part, are they not?
Yeah, but like a little kid isn't going to be the same size.
Yes.
But like I'm sure they'll have like the small model.
Okay.
Like I don't think that's going to be a huge deal, to be honest.
All right, someone says, I want to go full cyborg. That's from the Super Ginge. And then on the other side of sort of that argument is Mindflow the Therid? Okay, Mike says, guys, the human body rejects upgrades, so you could be subjecting that person to a life with fists full of pills daily. No reusing. Well, okay, but hold on a second. Why not reusing? Because you could...
I don't get the reusing part.
Yeah, I mean...
The first part's like, okay, but you're only doing fistful of pills until you jump out of the queue and don't have to use the artificial heart anymore, and you can use a real one, because that's, I think, more the point.
So would Maximilian figures would prefer a heart that is designed by nature to do the job, provided that the condition is good.
But would take a
refurbed one.
I get that.
I don't care as long as I can live. Really like the artificial heart idea. If it keeps you alive, then it's probably good. Robo Heart, and I will get the iPhone app. Thank you, Luke Howden.
You'd be able to track it really easy, probably.
If an artificial heart would keep me going long enough to get a new heart, I would go for it. So not necessarily wanting to run an artificial heart forever, but if it can keep you in the game long enough to get a better chance, then... this is great in Twitch chat. Who is this? Sir Lockjaw says, never go full cyborg. Lol. Or XD, whatever. I foresee a wild dystopian blood dragon future where mercenary hitmen will go around harvesting cyborg hearts for profit. That is actually crazy, but not that
too
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, you think about it this way. If you're willing to pull a knife on someone for their phone, which might be a few $100, are you willing to gut them for $200,000?
And like if it's all metal, if you just walked around with like a really powerful magnet and just like threw it at people, and then if it bounced off, we're like, oh, sorry, and pick it up. And then if it sticks, you're just like shank.
So that's interesting.
I could see it happening, and especially with what was it like? I don't know how necessarily true this is, but I was talking to my grandpa, and apparently, I don't want to bring this up again, but apparently the Microsoft Smart Bras are a big thing in his outlying community, to the point where they sold out, and they're like, how are we going to get more? Because he lives in an old folks community, so they want to keep track of their heart rate.
Interesting.
So it's actually a thing, and they totally sold out, but apparently some dude found a way to utilize something in the Smart Bra to GPS track people. Which is like terrible. I don't know. This is just my grandpa read it in his local newspaper, so I haven't looked up any additional information. This was not planned for this document. Take it with a grain of salt. But if you could like GPS track people with artificial hearts,
right,
you could straight up hunt people for their artificial hearts.
Oh my goodness! And there's already black market organs.
Yep.
This is a thing.
Yeah.
And if something is artificial and not actually made of tissue, and it doesn't die at the same speed that a real organ would.
There's the cow tissue.
Yeah, but you could refurb it with new cow tissue. I'm assuming if you're stealing hearts from people, you had some kind of a plan for what to do with it, and you know a dirty doctor somewhere that could help you with it. I mean, that's
crazy.
Woo. Anyway,
I don't know. I wonder what that'll turn.
Well,
and like that's all tinfoil hatty stuff. who knows? But
Yeah, but the problem is that the tinfoil hat guys have been right so
Lately.
many times lately. I mean, what are we supposed to say at this point?
yeah.
Speaking of tinfoil hats...
I don't necessarily want to fearmonger, but it is possible.
Oh, actually, not speaking of tinfoil hats just yet. We have our guest segment, hopefully. I don't think I've seen Mark in the TeamSpeak yet.
Nope.
I could maybe fire an email over to him, so let's go ahead. Maybe I'll just see if he's on Hangouts.
He definitely got the email with the TeamSpeak info because...
Yeah, no, I saw him in the doc, so he's definitely been having a look. Hey, you around? So hopefully we can have him join us pretty soon here. In the meantime, do you want to do a quick fire topic?
Do you want me to jump into the next one or do a quick fire one?
Yeah, let's do a quick fire one. Let's see if we get in touch with him right away.
All right, let me scroll down real quick. So this, if I can find it real quick here, so the Google versus Apple media mentions. If you want to bring that up at some point. There's just, Google has been talked about the most in 2013, which is honestly not that surprising because I find that Google has made a lot more splashes, and I think things that Google didn't even necessarily do brought them into the news a lot more than Apple. Things like CyanogenMod and things like Samsung and Intel trying to move themselves away from Android, and a lot of that kind of stuff actually made a lot of talk about Google, where Apple's just kind of their own little ecosystem sitting there. So I think Google was talked about a lot, and then things to do, like other people trying to do things with Google products, was talked about way more than it has been before, and that created this giant media bubble around Google.
Oh, sorry, I'm sending emails. Oh, that's inconvenient.
And ever since Steve Jobs passed away, honestly, Apple's been relatively complacent with their big thing where they released the information about their garbage can computer and the Apple iPad Air, I believe it's called. Oh my god.
Did you not CC him?
How did he get there?
I don't know.
I don't know how he got that if I didn't send it to him, though. That's kind of hilarious.
Please use reply all.
I thought I did. Apparently I only clicked reply, so SoldierKnowsBest didn't get the TeamSpeak info. Jeez. Anyways, going to continue talking about this. Yeah, the iPad Air and iPhone 5S and the trash can computer. The iPhone Air and iPhone 5S got a lot of talk about it, but the trash can computer, while it got a lot of talk, wasn't super consumer end, so there wasn't tons of people talking about it. And the iPad Air is just kind of like a slight upgrade. And the iPhone 5S had a few things, but they weren't super interesting, so they didn't release any giant hype machines this year.
Well, I mean, it was the usual hype. But honestly, there was a lot of stuff that they did do that I thought was really cool. I mean, including their productivity software with their OS, I thought was a huge deal. And upgrading people to OS X Mavericks for nothing. Basically, anyone who already owns an Apple OS on a PC they purchased in like the last, I think it was like 3 to 5 years or something like that, was going to get a free upgrade to the latest OS. I mean, that is game-changing and revolutionary, but I guess they're not exactly the first to do it.
Yeah.
But they're the first to do it with something that I'd really consider to be a professional grade thing. I mean, you could make the argument that Android has now reached the point where it's a viable OS, but at the beginning it was free because you couldn't give it away. And you look at something like Google Docs or Drive, whatever they call it now. You look at Google Docs the same way. It's like, yeah, it's free. It doesn't friggin' do anything. You know, I'll continue using Excel and Word and all those applications that are truly more powerful, whereas Apple is releasing their full software suites for nothing to anyone who buys the OS. But it's not Google Glass. It's not the future.
Yeah.
So I guess there's just less buzz around it. So, oh man, seriously, it's killing me here, man. Going on Twitter. Ready for you. Just sent you an email. I have no idea how. Oh, he probably found the doc from just the share when you shared him on it. So at least you managed to do that.
But I share people through this now.
Okay.
Because Google automatically goes, oh, someone in this email isn't shared on the doc. So I actually have no idea how that worked. But either way, it's working now.
It's working now. Oh, good.
I can jump into
He says, hey, what's up? Just got your email. Yeah, our bad. You can join us at any time. Just let me know when you're ready. All right, so why don't we move into our next topic then, which is going to be along the lines of tinfoil hats, actually. I would like to, because we were talking about tinfoil hats just briefly before.
This is a huge topic.
This is a huge topic. Well, I think he's going to need a while, so here we
Okay,
go.
sure.
All right, we can always pick up where we left off. So
Yep.
this right here was posted by 99VW on the forum, and the original article is from Reuters. So I'm going to let you handle most of this one. But basically, the NSA arranged, allegedly, okay, whatever, the NSA arranged a secret $10 million contract with RSA, one of the most influential firms in the computer security industry, to build in a back door. Interesting.
So it mainly affected one of their products. If I can get the name here real quick. Back to I can't remember the exact name of it, but it was one of their products specifically, and they sent out a bulletin after they got called out for this. After they got called out for this, they sent out a bulletin telling all the companies to stop using it. Because they're like, oh yeah, it's got NSA stuff. But only after they were called out. They knew the whole time. They were paid off the whole time, but they freaked out when they were discovered. It's interesting how this is working, because it's constantly just like, oh yeah, we figured out everything the NSA has done. Oh wait, here's a whole bunch more stuff. Constantly. That hasn't stopped for a really long time. So it's mainly like passcodes to gain access to different networks and stuff like that, like security keys that were broken. But it brings up the question, like, if you're a company that were using these things actively and then just got informed that this was going on, how pissed are you? Like, this $10 million passed down by the NSA, like, is there going to be giant lawsuits about this? I would be pissed. Apparently he doesn't have any additional insight. But
No, I'm not an encryption expert by any stretch of the imagination, but basically, yeah, it's just never ending at this point.
And if the bad part is too is that they were warned, and it was brought up that they were using a methodology that was like easy to predict if you knew what it was, and people knew it was from the government, so people were like, hey, why are you using this? And they just kind of ignored it the whole time. So they definitely knew, and they were paid off, so they definitely knew, and it wasn't just like just executives that knew, it was known by other people as well. So it's kind of ugly. And when I saw this, I decided to start looking through, like, okay, I knew the NSA was behind some encryption stuff because I've watched a few different things on Numberphile and a few different other YouTube channels that have talked about how they make these like random number generator engines and how the NSA is behind a whole bunch of them. And so I did a little bit more research and found something that a few other people have found too, which is that the NSA is behind SHA. And SHA is used for my TrueCrypt containers, which I use personally. And I decided to go, okay, well, what else uses SHA? And something else that uses SHA is Bitcoin, which is really interesting.
So tinfoil hats again. This is from motherboard.vice.com. It's a blog right here. Is Bitcoin a government conspiracy? You know, it's one of those things where 6 months ago, I'd have been like, no, what are you, an idiot? And then now,
Me too.
You don't even know anymore. So remember, guys, that Bitcoin's sort of founder, we don't know if this is actually an individual. We don't know if it's a group of people. We know that the suspicion is that this person or people owns something to the tune of 1 million Bitcoins, which would be worth, over $1 billion or less than that, depending on the valuation.
Wherever it's sitting right now, who knows?
Wherever Bitcoin's at the moment, we do know that they own a lot of it. We do know that they were involved in the creation of it, and we do know that we don't know who this person or people is or are.
And that the NSA is behind their main encryption algorithm, and that encryption algorithm covers their, if I can find it in here somewhere, their proof of work. Where is it? Bitcoin proof of work encryption for the blockchain. So, like, as you're calculating things, all of that encryption, the back end is done by the NSA. Interesting. I don't know. And previously, it's somewhere in this Vice document, but previously it was spoken that the NSA was talking about cryptocurrencies and online decentralized currencies before Bitcoin came around, and their investment part of the NSA started moving in those directions before Bitcoin even came around. And then randomly Bitcoin props up, and it's like backed by SHA and blah, blah, blah. It's just kind of, yeah.
I'm curious how much Bitcoin's worth right now.
Mount Gox.
Yep. If I could type on this keyboard, then that would be, then that would work.
I was like, what are you going to?
Well, I managed to
I know,
type
I saw
T-Gox.
it. Yeah, I saw it.
So,
797.
Well, the last trade was 765. So, okay, the 1 million Bitcoins wouldn't be worth $1 billion. It would be worth around 765 million right now. So,
And still an incredible amount of
there
money.
you go. Still a lot of money, but all right. So I don't think I see Mark in TeamSpeak yet. So maybe he's coming soon.
We can also cover this one right here, China Mobile.
Ah, yes. China Mobile has finally made a deal with Apple. So this has huge implications.
Oh, here he is.
Oh, there he is. Actually, okay. Well, we might as well just drag him right in
User
then.
was moved to your channel.
I probably have to go like this.
Hey, Mark, are you here?
That's
Oh.
not good.
Oh, it's not here, is it?
Nope.
All right.
But that's here.
But what's here? I don't know. Oh, really? Okay, sure.
Sorry,
Go
that.
for it. Hey, Mark, are you here? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, are neither of us wearing a headset that's actually connected to that? All right, let's try that one more time. Mark, are you here?
All right, well, do you want to jump into the next
Sure,
topic?
I'll jump into the next topic. This is what happens when we don't get the test call done ahead of time. I love this. All right, maybe if someone would reply all on emails, then we wouldn't have this problem. All right, let's do a very brief topic here. The Internet Archive adds 70s and 80s games to, well, the internet. One of the big problems with emulation, so for those of you who don't know what emulation is, I'm sure most of you do, but that's
Hey, wake up.
that's faking the hardware of an older like gaming system, for example, and then running it on a PC. So we can emulate systems like the Super Nintendo, older systems from Atari, but the legality of emulation is very much a gray area. So, for example, Nintendo might have a property that they haven't. Let's say Blades of Steel. I don't know if Blades of Steel is on the like the Wii store or whatever else, but okay, they might have an ancient property for NES that you can't buy. So unless you buy it used, which they're not making any money on, you actually can't obtain it. You can't buy NES hardware from them. You can't buy the game from them. So basically, they're just saying, no, you can't play it. Too bad. But it's illegal to run an emulator to use a PC as your NES and then get a ROM of the game and load that and play it, because I guess they own the licensing, so they can say, well, no, you're not allowed to do that, even though they don't make any money either way. So it looks like some of these older game console makers have gotten past that little hurdle and decided to just allow their games to exist on the internet. So quite a few older games, including things like Donkey Kong, as well as, okay, apparently we're ready to go on that. So Donkey Kong, as well as Pac-Man, Frogger, are just going to be available. So the 5 consoles that are supported right now are the Atari 2600, ColecoVision, Magnavox Odyssey, Philips VideoPack G7000, that's also the Magnavox Odyssey, the Astrocade, and the Atari 7800, which is really cool. I mean, I think this is a huge step forward in... What is that sound?
It's his keyboard.
Oh, okay. I think that's a huge step forward in the maturity of these game developers or these license holders, where it's just like, okay, well, look, we're not making money on this in any way now. We might as well make it available online, make it ad supported, make it donation supported, do something, but let people play the games if they really want to.
And this ties into something we'll talk about later, actually, which is like the should you have your kids play older video games topic, but we'll talk about that later.
All right, so big welcome to our guest with whom we had a bit of a miscommunication there. Hi, Mark.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, we're pretty good. I think you got a little bit of reverb going on there. I hope that's a setting on our side, but I'm not 100% sure.
It's probably me. I always have an echo here. I'm in the loft right now, so it kind of sucks. Can't really hear it on my videos too much if you're not using headphones, though.
Ah, you know what? I was watching one of your videos the other day, and I did happen to be wearing headphones, and it sounded a little bit funny to me, so I guess that's just the unfortunate cross to bear of living in, hopefully it's like a super sexy, cool loft.
Damn right it is. The ladies love it.
There we go. That loft is probably in that video, the Kung Fu video that we showed earlier, yeah.
All right, so Mark, for those of our viewers who don't know who you are, of which there may be 3 or 4, why don't you introduce yourself and tell them a little bit about what you've been doing? I mean, you've been on YouTube about as long as I have, so you're basically a veteran at this point. Tell us about yourself.
Well, basically I've been doing YouTube videos since like 2007. And I started off just looking at the iPhone, the very first iPhone, and went on YouTube checking to see if I can... Oh, can y'all hear that?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you.
That's good? Okay. And my first video was just, covering the first generation iPhone. Then I just went from there. So I started as a hobby like most people did. And now I'm able to do a full-time job with it. And so I'm not complaining. To be able to work from home, to be able to do this is awesome. But just being a tech YouTuber is just a good thing, as you probably know.
So tell me about how you've evolved over the last, I guess that's about almost 6 years now.
I would say that, it starts off, where I started off, I knew nothing about video editing. I knew nothing about anything at all, but tech, I just knew that I like to talk about it for the most part. And so just the aspect of just making videos, I was brand new to it and I just had to learn on my own. And so, of course, over all the years, all of us YouTubers, we get better and better as we learn from other people and we share things with other tech YouTubers. And just for me, it's really just trying to keep at it and stay active. And, to try to evolve your channel, evolve your videos, but also try to make them still feel familiar to your viewers. So that's kind of been the slight challenge to do that. But, it's something that every day you try to get better and every day you find out something new.
So tell me something. When you started off 7 years ago and you were basically like webcamming it, because that's what we were all doing at that point, I mean, the expectation, I feel like, was quite low in terms of production values, in terms of the professionalism of the content. Do you think that the barrier of entry for new YouTubers has become much higher and that it's much more difficult to break into it these days?
Yeah, I would say that, because I think the word is out right now. And, back when we started, I know when I started, I didn't know you can make any money on YouTube. But, as you start to do it and that's caused us to really start doing it because it's a hobby, because we really love to do it. I think now some people are in it just for the money. And the people who really just are in it for the love of it, they kind of can get overshadowed by those people who are really trying to make money and get a lot of views. I think now it's a little bit harder, but I still see new people every day come up on YouTube. There's a lot of young kids that were just, very young kids when I started, and now they're, semi-adults and doing their own thing. So it's a little tougher, but I think it's always an opportunity for somebody to jump in here.
That's actually, that's an interesting take on it. I mean, one of the things that I usually say to people who ask me, how do I become a YouTuber is, unless you're passionate enough about it to do it for free and to put your heart and soul into it for nothing, don't even bother, because you're not going to make it. I mean, people, I think, treat our jobs like, like it's easy. You just like, oh, well, you get all the latest tech for free,
right,
and then you just like play with it and make a video. Well, that's the easiest job in the world. I think what they don't understand is the sweat, blood, and tears that goes into uploading content every single day or every single week or whatever your upload schedule is, and how much of a toll that takes on you.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I know when I first started, and even now, I still buy a lot of the content and a lot of the products that I review. And so it's always been an investment. But that wasn't the point. It was just the point of me really enjoying talking to people and helping people out, making a product decision. And it's really with anything you want to do in life. I mean, we're kind of fortunate to be doing a job that, we love. And some people have to do a job just because they need that money, and they have to kind of settle for it. So If you're going to get into YouTube, you need to make sure you get into something that you really like to talk about, because other than that, you're going to run out of things to talk about, and people will see that you're really not that interested in it. They can kind of see through that. So yeah, but YouTube is hard. I talk to my friends and family. They think I kind of do just sit in my underwear sometimes and make videos, but they think that's it. They think, video takes 5 minutes to do. And I'm like, no, it takes a little bit more work than that. So that's always a conversation I have with my friends and family, but they're starting to come around.
Yeah, I had a great conversation with someone on a badminton court of all places. We were doing like kind of a mix up the partners thing, and this was someone I'd never played with before. And she was like, "Oh, what do you do for work?" And I'm like, "Oh, I make YouTube videos." She's like, she kind of waits a second. She's like, "Oh, okay. I mean, what do you do for a job?" And I'm like, "I make YouTube videos." And she's like, "No, I mean like when you're not making YouTube videos." I'm like, "No, I make YouTube videos, man."
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, even people that I've told I've been doing YouTube for a long time, they still don't think this is like my main job. They still think I'm doing military full time, and they ask me, "Well, how are you doing the Army and doing YouTube videos?" I'm like, I'm not. I'm just in the reserves now. YouTube's my full time job. You can make a living off of YouTube now.
All right, so speaking of making a living off of YouTube, I'm assuming that you have big plans for CES, which is coming up in a mere week. What are you most excited about at the show, and what are the chances we're going to see you wandering around on the show floor there?
I'm really excited to get the CES bug again. I get sick every freaking year I go down there. But no, I'm really excited for the CES because I think this year is going to be a good year. I think every other year is really one of those years where we really see a good amount of new products that kind of something that besides just a really big TV. So I think this year the companies will be bringing in. Yeah, I'll be walking around the show floor. I'll be there from Sunday until probably Thursday or Friday. And of course, I'll be tweeting and stuff like that. And I know Revision 3 and Discovery will have a booth somewhere on the show floor where if anybody wants to come by and hang out and talk to me or any other the people on the network, you're more than welcome to.
Oh, that's cool. So are you going to be spending a fair bit of time in the Revision 3 and Discovery area?
Yeah, I'll be there a lot, but most of the day I'll be just roaming the show floor, getting some footage, and then probably going back to that area to edit or back to my hotel room. But yeah, I'll be back there a lot. We'll be doing some live streaming and other things like that in that area. Normally we're in the back far right-hand corner. If you're coming in from the hallway in the auto area, that is like every year. So we're normally in that back right-hand corner. So, but I'll let people know for sure on my Twitter or Facebook where we are.
Cool, that sounds fantastic. So, okay, it's funny that you mentioned that there will be big TVs, because this will be, I believe, my 5th CES now, and I think I've been staring at 80-inch sort of 3D or 4K TVs, that none of which I can still buy since I first started going.
I know, man. Every year they're beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but they're out of the price range of most people. But yeah, I'm really waiting to see something different besides the big TV. Hopefully they can do something different.
I think you remember me talking when we were walking on the show floor. I was like, "There's so many TVs that I've never heard of or seen before, and they just never come out."
Remember that? Remember at Computex, that huge booth that was like as big as Intel's booth and had like 3D TVs and all this stuff, and I'm like, I have never heard of
this
you.
company.
I have never seen any of your products anywhere. I Google you, and as far as I can tell, you don't even exist. What are you doing here?
Exactly. Everybody gotta get their shine somehow. But yeah, I wasn't. When I left CES last year, I wasn't really wowed at the things that were coming out of it. But I have high hopes for this year.
Well, for every amazing product at CES, like the first time I saw the AR drone at CES, I was kind of blown away by it. I
love that damn thing. I just took it out earlier today when I got home from traveling. I actually just took it out because I got some friends coming over tomorrow, and we're gonna be flying that thing on the rooftop. So it's gonna be fun.
Nice. See,
I love that thing.
That kind of thing is cool. That blows my mind. But for every one of those, there's like one of these. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this on the stream right now, but if you give it a minute, this is called the Hipshot Dot. And basically what it is it's a suction cup that sticks to the bottom of your TV bezel, and then it has an adjustable length, like, wire thing that you stick what is essentially an LED in the middle of your TV that shines onto the TV and gives you a red dot sight as if you're looking down the irons, or as if you're using a red dot sight, even when you're not zoomed in, to improve your accuracy in games. And I look at this and I go, really? $29.99? This is basically a cheat.
Yeah.
And you could replicate the effect by, like, putting a red piece of paper in the middle of your TV.
My favorite thing is, like, on here, they're like, oh, yeah, it's the only thing like this that's EMP proof. Because in the game, if an EMP bomb goes off, all your electronics turn off. I'm like, yeah, because you're cheating. Like, not because it makes sense. Only because you're cheating.
I mean, what do you do when people at booths like that walk up to you and they want you to cover their product? I mean, do you cover it, or do you just kind of politely say, no, I'm quite frankly, that isn't interesting, and I'm sorry? Did we lose him?
I don't think so.
Oh, my bad. Here I am. Yeah, I normally just kind of, say I'm kind of busy right now or something like that. I don't like to give bad reviews. So I just like to review products that I'm really interested in. And if it's something I'm not interested in, I don't want to take the product from them and not review it. I just want to, I'll be back later. Something like that.
We've got a meeting to go to.
But wait, can we scan your badge? Can we scan your badge? It's like, no, you may not scan my badge.
No more emails.
Oh, God.
All right, so are you...
All the CES emails.
All right, so this is pretty interesting. Apple was apparently slapped with a $670,000 fine, which really is a slap.
Not that much.
That's not exactly a barbell to the face for a company like that. But in Taiwan, for interfering with carrier prices. And, I mean, you follow Apple probably a lot closer than either of us do. What's your take on Apple's strategy outside of North America, and what is this? What are they doing?
I don't know. I think Apple now, they know they can get away with it. Like you said, I mean, that's a mosquito bite to Apple. I'm pretty sure Tim Cook carries that around in his back pocket every day. So I think it's going to be, I don't agree with Apple doing it for sure, like most people don't. I think it's something that it's affecting the consumers out there. That's not fair, to everybody else out there in the market. And I think Apple, in order for them to send a message to Apple, they're going to really have to hit them with a bigger fine than that. And to me, I don't understand why Apple needs to do this. They don't need to do this. They're not some small company trying to come up. I know they're trying to break into new markets, but they should be just fine. They shouldn't have to do these type of tactics. And when they get called out on it, they'll start to hopefully feel the ramifications for it.
I mean, it's funny that you say that they need a bigger fine in order to make them really notice, but, I mean, okay, the article on BGR.com is like, well, they may be fined an additional $1.67 million. We're still not talking about numbers that they actually feel.
Or will care about at all.
Or
exactly.
will care.
You're going to hit them with millions and millions. I mean, if you're going to do something like that, or some bans or something like that in order for Apple to get that message, but... I mean, I don't blame if Apple has the money and they just see, okay, we're just going to fine them a few $100,000. You can't really fault Apple for continuing to do what they're going to be doing, because that's nothing to them. So
right.
They're really going to have to hit them hard.
I mean, that's actually an interesting topic for a Twitter blitz. Guys, if you want to hit us up at Linus Tech on Twitter with, tell me this, if something is illegal but not hurtful to anyone, it doesn't harm anyone else. Let's say, for example, HOV lane is a great example of something that is, we're not talking drunk driving here. We're not talking you can kill someone. We're talking you're cheating the system and you're getting somewhere a little bit faster. It's like that person who goes through the express checkout at the grocery store that says 10 items or less, and they clearly have 14 items. It's not right, but it's not, you're not stealing or killing or, raping people. It's not, I mean, it's a crime, but it's not. So that kind of stuff, these sorts of soft crimes, why don't we call it that? Do you do the math? So for something like the HOV lane, if it was, for example, a $20 ticket and there was about a 1 in 30 chance, let's say you did your commute, every day and once a month they're there, and you save yourself X number of hours, and if you paid yourself $10 an hour and you had to pay the fine once a month, do you do that math and would you just keep doing it, or is that wrong? Would love to hear from you guys. And Soldier, in the meantime, why don't you tell me your thought? Is it okay for Apple to continue to do things if they're just willing to, quote unquote, pay their debt to society? Because that's the theory, is that once you've been caught doing this, you make amends by contributing more money for police officers to patrol and catch you, or whatever it is that they use that money for.
I think it's something that they should stop doing just because it's the right thing to do. I mean, you have enough money where this, I don't see how much money by them doing this is really going to get into their pockets. It's not going to be worth the reputation that's going to be the reputation hit that they're going to take from this. Now again, the common consumer is not going to recognize it. We may never hear about this on CNN or somewhere else like that. Just us geeks will probably hear about it. But I still think that I think there's a lot of good morally right people over there at Apple that they should just say, hey, we'll try to do this the right way. Let's stop doing this and set an example for other companies at least.
We could hope for that. I mean, the issue is that you've got these companies that want to play their side of the law and then play the side of the law that doesn't work that well for them, so they want to litigate against everyone when it comes to something like patent infringement. And then when it comes to competing fairly and not price fixing, then, well, that law is not that important, but the other law is, so... Yeah.
Just doing whatever benefits. It's a corporation. It's a person, but it's a person that is allowed to screw around without any shine.
All right. Now, again, you're more of a Mac guy than anyone sitting in this room over here. Tell me your thoughts on the Mac Pro, the new Mac Pro, 2013 Mac Pro, whatever people want to call it.
Well, I just got mine in. I haven't taken it out of the box yet. So it's kind of... it's kind of teasing me over here, but I'm just rubbing it in my underwear. But no, but I think the Mac Pro is interesting because I think it's a really nice machine. It looks awesome, but I don't think a lot of people have problems with the original design of the Mac Pro, at least with the customization you could do with it, how easy it was to swap out parts. And Apple kind of went the extra mile to make this thing small as possible. And it kind of limits the power users who now have to, have all the external drives hooked up via the Lightning port or, a lot of extra things now. But I think that Apple, at least they finally updated it. And I think it is going to be a powerful machine, even though some people don't think it's that powerful. And we're probably going to talk about that here in a second. But I think it's a cool machine. I think at least Apple, I'm just excited to see Apple trying to finally kind of make amends with the pro market right now.
You know what? That is a really interesting take on it, because if nothing else, at least they're finally throwing a bone to the pro users who were using Final Cut and were using Mac Pros and had actually invested in this platform and then just got completely abandoned. They stopped getting software updates. They stopped getting hardware updates. They were just getting ignored by Apple. But my problem with it, I think actually you hit the nail on the head, because people can talk all day about how powerful or not powerful it is, but it's not made of magic. It's got an Intel CPU in it. It's got AMD graphics cards in it. It's got, friggin' whatever, Kingston RAM in it. Who cares? Samsung chips, whatever. It on paper, it's as fast as it is in real life. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter. To me, the issue is the form factor here. They created something designed for professionals and for professional use, and with an aesthetic that I really feel will appeal to professionals and a price tag for professionals, but there was a major misstep here with the form factor, and I don't know if you've seen that picture, but if you Google Mac Pro 2012 versus Mac Pro 2013 in a Google image search, you find this hilarious image of a 2012 Mac Pro with a bunch of upgrades, including a DVD burner, 4 hard drives, a Blu-ray writer, an audio interface card, a video capture device, and a fiber channel thing. And what that would look like if you ran it on the 2013 Mac Pro with power cables and Thunderbolt daisy chains all over the place. I mean, to me, is someone who appreciates the aesthetic of this 6-inch by however tall it is, I forget, 18-inch, 12-inch, whatever it is someone who appreciates that aesthetic gonna want 24 daisy-chained Thunderbolt cables with power cords for each of those individual devices coming out of that machine?
Right, I think most won't, and that's the thing. Like, Apple, they're innovative. They make cool machines. The fact they can get into something this small is amazing. But I think at the end of the day, when all the hype calms down, I think people are going to be like, oh, I kind of miss the form factor of the old Mac Pro. I really wish they probably just slimmed that down a little bit and still gave me those same options to pull off that back cover or that side cover and really get inside of it. So yeah, this picture's hilarious. When I first saw it, I mean, I was rolling, but it's the truth. So I think, again, just like they're doing with iMovie and Final Cut, they're really trying to go for those prosumers, those people who are kind of not really Pixar professionals, but they're trying to do a little bit more with their machine. And design-wise, that's the first thing. You always gotta catch that person's eye, and with this new Mac Pro, it definitely is going to do that.
Yeah, I guess that much is true. I mean, we can also spend a little bit of time talking about the power of it. So there was a post on LinusTechTips.com where, and this is really funny to me. So here, let's fire up my screen here. So the post was by Top War Gamer, and the headline is a little bit incendiary here, but even at $7,000, the new Mac Pro is only 8% faster than an iMac. And there are some valid points here, because the new Mac Pro uses Ivy Bridge E versus the Haswell architecture that's actually one generation further along compared to Ivy Bridge E that is in use in the new iMacs. So there's a 10% performance per clock, per core deficit there already for the Mac Pro, but it makes up for it with more cores. And then there's also the fact that it's clocked lower, so having, particularly in professionally multi-threaded applications, like something like Final Cut Pro, kind of video rendering, advanced photo editing, things like that, more threads actually scales quite effectively, but more clock speed always scales very effectively. Yeah. So most people may be better off actually having a Haswell-based iMac versus something like a Mac Pro. So, I mean, the hardware is all things that we know, and right. The original article was actually from Macworld, and it's funny to me that they benchmarked it in this way, because I really don't think it tells the whole story, but they basically said, look, it's only about 7% faster in our benchmark, speed mark, that we developed, that apparently doesn't really seem, in my mind, to represent the real-world advantages of the Mac Pro. There's no doubt that for professional video rendering or 4K video work, this is going to be a big deal. But I really don't think that 7% faster was fair. It is a very powerful machine.
Yeah. It's as these machines start arriving on people's doorsteps, we're going to have benchmarks out the wazoo. And I know you guys are going to, definitely do your thing on it. And yeah, so you can't just take one benchmark out of it. We have to see the sum of them. But I'm pretty sure it's not going to be just slightly more powerful than the iMac. That's kind of impossible. I think Apple would be very stupid to do that. But it could happen if all the benchmarks come out, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
In some applications, it will be true. Single-threaded applications, it will be true.
Right.
But in multi-threaded applications, it should do quite well. Now, speaking of multi-threaded, what configuration did you get?
Well, for this one, I just got the base model, just because I wanted to get it before I left off the CES. But I think after I get done reviewing this one, I'll probably go ahead and send this one back in and get something more, at least 6 cores.
Little more oomph for you there.
Yeah, it's a little more, just a little more. We'll see. I mean, we'll see how this performs for my kind of workflow. I mean, I don't need that much, to be honest with you.
Right.
But yeah, so I just got the base model for this review.
So what do you have? I honestly, I'm a little bit guilty of not even looking that closely at the configurations of the Mac Pro. What video cards does the base model have?
The base has a D500, I believe.
Just one? Oh, I think we lost him again.
No,
it's dual. My bad.
So sorry, a D500 and just one.
No, I think it's dual.
It is dual. Okay, it is dual. What I would love for you to do, and of course I don't sort of dictate what content you do in any way, shape, or form, but what I would love for you to do is find a way to fully load up the machine and then go ahead and...
This is the quad core.
Okay.
$3,000 quad core.
Oh,
if you scroll down, it's
Yep, dual D300s. So I'd love for you to find a way to fully load the graphics cards and the CPU, and then just put a microphone next to it, because Apple's claims of 17 decibels under load, or whatever it is they're saying, seem ridiculous to me, particularly for higher-end configurations, but even for the base model, that just doesn't seem right. and no one has properly benchmarked this yet. Like, the best I've seen, everyone's reviews seems to be basically the same so far, and they're just saying, okay, yeah, we played back some 4K video, and we tried doing a little bit of 4K editing, we put some filters on it.
Because certain things are covered, like they can't talk about certain things yet. It's possible.
There can't possibly be an embargo on a product that's shipping to end users. That's impossible.
Is it already landing at end users?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just got one.
I thought he got one as a review unit.
No, Apple doesn't like me.
Oh.
No. Yeah, they started shipping, I think earlier this week, so I think people started getting them as early as Tuesday or at least Thursday.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So there you go. I would love for you to tell us, how loud is this thing actually? Because the amount of heat being dissipated in there, it doesn't seem right to me.
Right.
And even Apple's whole explanation of how it works, where you have one heatsink that is actually being shared by 3 components, so that heatsink can be used when 2 things are idle. It can be used to cool the first one even more. Well, okay, Apple, but what about when all 3 of them are working really hard? Then how cool does it run? How quiet is it really? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. I will definitely test it out.
Thank you. Cool. I appreciate that very much, actually. All right, so let's move on to our last guest topic here. And wait, did I ask them for a Twitter Blitz at one point there?
You did. You asked them for a Twitter Blitz about the FTC in Taiwan, Fair Trade Commission in Taiwan.
Ah, yes. Okay, so hold on. Let's see if we have any for you here, Mark. All right. So, okay. So here's Andreas's take. So your fines should be based on your income. So if you're a, millionaire flying through a Swiss village with your Ferrari, it should cost you a few $100,000 because you have the money. So the punishment should rise proportional. Wow, can't talk right now. Yeah, proportionally with your income. Sounds fair.
So put Apple on child support.
Put Apple on child support. Yeah.
Tech support.
Yeah, alimony. For Apple. All right. Hamza says, I think that these actions make a company earn easy money, and that's why the biggest brands, even supermarkets, are taking this approach. So basically, I think that sounds like an acknowledgement that there's nothing we can really do.
Yeah, I don't know. I think in the long run, in a week, we're probably not going to hear about this again, and Apple was going to. And unfortunately, I think they're probably going to get away with it. It should just stop.
All right, so Ober1 Kenobi says, no victim, no crime. Okay, that's one way of looking at it.
Depends how you define a victim.
Yeah, because,
victims here.
If you waste someone's time by hijacking another lane and you get an advantage that they didn't have, are they a victim? Maybe.
And then if someone should be going faster in that lane and are now going slower because you're in it.
Ryan asks me to stop using AdBlock on the Stream PC. I'm not using AdBlock. I have no idea what you're talking about.
No one in the office has AdBlock installed.
Yeah, we do not have AdBlock. I'm sure there's at least a few articles here that have ads all over them. All right. Someone asks, what would we do? Okay, so here's something. Is it a victimless crime if someone takes your video, Mark, and re-uploads it if they don't claim monetization on it?
I mean, for me, because I don't care, to be honest with you, because a lot of people have uploaded like almost all my videos on their channels. I don't. It doesn't bother me. So at least for me, it doesn't. But I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who, hey, I created the content. I want to, I'm the owner of it. I don't want anybody else uploading under some other false name. So I can see why other people will be pissed at it.
We've had other people upload our content.
Yeah.
We don't usually ever really care.
I issue takedown notices sometimes when I have time, but when I'm busy, I just kind of leave it.
Yeah, but then there's still technically a victim there. It's just not pressing charges doesn't mean that there wasn't a victim.
Okay, that's a good point.
Right.
All right, so let's talk about Google Glass 2.0. I've actually had one for a little while. You've got one, but the key difference between you and me is that I never tried the first Explorer edition. So I would love to hear your impressions of Glass 2.0 versus 1.0.
Well, I would say, hardware-wise, just one of the major differences is just the fact that the 2.0 ships with the mono earbud. that you can use now to kind of be better for audio if you're going to talk on a phone call or listen to any type of video on there.
Right.
And then the second edition is going to be available to be able to use the prescription lenses instead of just the sunglass and the clear glass lenses, which is definitely going to be useful for people who use glasses. But other than that, they feel pretty identical on my face. Same weight. They're still pretty sturdy when you put them on. They don't come off easy. So I would say if you use 1.0 and you use 2.0, it's not going to feel any different on your face. Camera quality just seems to be the same. And other than just the mono earbud and the prescription lenses, that's basically hardware-wise the difference that I can really actually physically tell.
How do you like it? How do you like the glass experience, or being a glass hole, so to speak?
Oh, I'm definitely a glass hole. Well, I've been wearing it for about two months now, and I wear it a lot of places, in public places and just privately when I'm just chilling at home, just using it. And I would say that it's something that after I get done testing it, it's not something I would carry around everywhere I go. At least not if I'm walking in a group of friends somewhere, we're going out to hang out somewhere. I don't think I'll take Google Glass unless you're doing something cool like paintball or something, and I want to get some video of it.
Right.
I think it's really just for when you're by yourself and you're going out doing something and you're out in the town doing whatever. It's a good by yourself product, but just when you're with a group of people, it's just too much of a distraction, I think. And it's just that I don't find myself wanting to use it when I'm with a group of people just talking around or chilling, drinking or whatever. But I think overall it's a cool device, and the people that have used it, they've been kind of mixed on it, whether it's going to be something that they will actually buy when it comes out to market. But I think there's a future in it, but it really comes down to the augmented reality that Google is trying to do with it, to be able just to walk and not have to activate it or touch it, but walk and you see a subway station like they're showing in the video and it tells you it's closed or tell you that the train is running late. That is what we're really far off from.
Right.
But I kind of see where Google's going for, and they're constantly releasing updates for it, which are making it better. But I think when it comes out next year, hopefully, even at a good price point, I still think it's going to be a lot of people hesitant to buy it.
Yeah. I think a big thing is going to be glass etiquette, or I'm sure someone will spin it glass etiquette or something, whatever. But I think that's going to be a big thing, and I think it's going to have its own environment around it where if you do something, it's automatically perceived as rude. There will become manners and etiquette with using Google Glass in areas that you just really shouldn't have it. If you walk into a hospital or a doctor's office,
right?
I'm assuming people are going to expect you to take it off.
Right.
And I think stuff like that is going to evolve once it becomes more of a consumer product.
Yeah, it's really common sense, If you go to the bathroom, take your glasses off, put it on the top of your head or something, And
Yeah.
I think that's just common sense. There's going to be stupid people out there, of course, with any product, but
yeah.
I think at the end of the day, it's really just going to be to the to people who aren't wearing it, because a lot of people think I'm always recording them. And I'm
right.
like, look, I'm not recording you. When I walk into this room, I'm not recording you. So that's the biggest, and I think that's going to be the main problem that Google Glass is going to have to try to come over. Is just going to be getting people aware to the fact that you're not always recording. And the only thing I can really think of to be able to do that is have a little red light on the front that indicates when you're recording. That's the only thing I can really see. That's the only way I can really see them getting around that. Right.
But even then, to educate people that there's an indicator for recording. Okay, here, this might sound really bad, but I wore my Google Glass through an airport in Canada where there's really no talk about it, because I don't know if you know this, but Google doesn't ship glass to Canada. I actually had to go down to the States. I had to find someone. Actually, it was Austin Evans who let me use his credit card to order Google Glass and ship to someone in the States, where I went down and picked it up and hand carried it over. So there's none of them in Canada right now, and no one even really recognized it or thought it was a problem that I was walking through an airport with this thing. So when you consider that's the level of ignorance that's out there about it now, how do you educate everyone that there's a recording light on it? Come on.
I think it's going to be the coverage of it. There's already been, when Google Glass finally, the Explorer edition started just coming out, the major networks, CNN and everybody else were talking about it. And that's one of the topics they were talking about, the camera and the privacy issue of it. So I think Google's just going to have to do a really good job at getting that word out. If they were to add that red light on there just to get that word out, hopefully the public, the consumer public will be able to hear that. And again, most people won't, to be honest with you, but that's the only way I can see them really getting around it. It's better than nothing. I think that red light would be better than nothing. I think people who are wearing Google Glass won't mind having a red light on when they're recording. I think that in the end of the day, it'll just help out those people who are kind of privacy conscious police officers and other people. The lady in California got a ticket for wearing Google Glass. But I think that's mostly due to the fact that you can't reuse cell phones and stuff like that. But it's that type of ignorance by the police officer that it's something that it's kind of hard to get over. But I don't know. Google's gonna have to try. The only way you can probably really try is just with just the media, the mainstream media.
It'd be interesting. They could make it really obvious by changing how they actually do the red indicator. So like if they had it go all the way along the side and be a little light, so that it's like super obvious, and make it like breathe or something, so people know like this is doing something right now. Like you might not be educated enough to realize it's recording, but hello, flashing light, like something's going on.
Yeah, and I know Google probably doesn't want to do that because I understand they definitely they like the look of Google glasses to be clean but I mean, we're already seeing it get banned from a lot of different places already, and restaurants, and of course casinos are going to ban it, but it's going to get to the point where a lot of people are going to be so ignorant privacy, activists that they're going to want to just keep banning. Everybody's just going to ban it, and it's going to be like, hey, in certain places it shouldn't be banned, but I don't know. That's the one thing. But everything else about glass I love, but that's the one thing that I just encountered with other people while using it.
All right, well, I think we kept you a little bit, about 20 minutes overtime. Sorry, Mark, but I guess maybe, okay, I think, yeah, well, I'm just trying to figure out. I actually have to go pick up my baby tonight, so I can't let the show run like an hour overtime. So I guess we got to let you go. Sorry we were a little bit late, and sorry about that email not arriving in your inbox. Well, not being sent from Luke's outbox, because it would have arrived in your inbox had it ever
it was sent to from my outbox. It just didn't go to him.
Yeah, it went to me, not to you.
My bad.
Anyway.
Hey, no problem, guys. I'm sorry. I'm reading the chat room. Sorry for my audio. Yeah, this is my first time using TeamSpeak, and I don't know why it's so bad. I don't know why it sounds this bad, but yeah, sorry about that. But no problem on the email, guys. Just thank y'all guys for having me on.
Thank you very much. So, yeah, just one more time, tell people where to find you, where they can follow you on Twitter, and find you on the YouTubes and all that good stuff.
Well, you can find me on YouTube, just Soldier Knows Best. On Twitter, Soldier Know Best, take the S off in the nose. Ran out of some characters. But on Facebook, Facebook.com/SKP fans. But just Google Soldier Knows Best. You'll find me on there. Now, I'm not just an Apple fanboy chat room. I see y'all.
all right, hold on. We got your first 9 videos up here on my screen right now, just for lulz, and it's jailbreak iPhone, MacBook Pro Penryn review, MacBook Pro battery review, MacBook Pro heat, gaming on the MacBook Pro, Crysis on a MacBook Pro, Half-Life 2 on a MacBook Pro, how to upgrade RAM in a MacBook Pro, and Apple Rumors /News V1.
Those are his
first. I watched them put those up there. Those were my first videos. Wait. I was in my beginning stages of an Apple fanboy back when I really first started. Damn, look at me, man. I look stupid. But I came out of my total Apple phase a long time ago.
All right. Well,
cool. I haven't seen those in so long. That's a long time ago.
Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. It was really nice to meet you finally. I've been keeping an eye on you over the years as we've both grown our YouTube audiences and been making tech videos in these completely different spaces. But it was nice to finally meet you.
Hey, you too, man. Yeah, again, thanks for having me on, man. Y'all take it easy, man. Enjoy.
All right. Take care.
Later.
All right, later.
All right, so that leads us into our sponsor messages. Who are our sponsors this week? I think it's Hotspot Shield and Intel. Is that correct? Sounds right. All right, let's go ahead. Hotspot Shield, guys. Remember, Hotspot Shield is the fast, easy way to set up a VPN. What are the benefits of a VPN? That's a great question, Linus. I could let you answer. All right, fine. You say what the benefits of a VPN are.
I gotta fix this.
Disconnected.
Okay, well, there's multiple things. The main one that I like is, say you're outside of the United States and you happen for some reason to want United States Netflix because it's just a lot better than pretty much all the other Netflixes ever.
Combined.
You needed to figure out some way to do that. Well, you can use a VPN. A VPN can make Netflix servers think that you're in the States and send you the data, and then you get it at home. So you can actually sign up for American Netflix and get it at home despite not living in the States. It also can help you with different privacy and just generally getting around certain blocks. I remember when Edsel and I were in Korea, for some reason in the hotel lobby, we couldn't access Google. Just like, what? So we actually used exactly Hotspot Shield while we were there, a trial version at the time, and got around that so that we could actually contact Linus to figure out, I don't remember why we had to contact you, but for some reason that needed to happen.
Because I'm your mother, basically.
Yep.
Take care of you.
So yeah, you can use it for many different things. Those are my main two, though. I'm assuming you have other things to say.
Yeah. I mean, you can even use it to do things like access information about Google Glass when you're not in the US, so that's another thing. You can also protect your privacy to a certain extent online. All the stuff with the NSA, there's new news every week. And while a VPN won't make you impossible to find and impossible to detect, it certainly does make it a little bit more difficult for a casual observer, to find out who you are and where you live simply by your IP. Because remember, guys, with your IP, someone can narrow down where you're located, often to within a few city blocks. It's very, very, very effective. So,
and as far as I know, Hotspot Shield as of now is one of, actually, honestly, fairly few companies that has not been infiltrated. I haven't heard anything about Hotspot Shield and the NSA yet.
Yeah, nothing yet. So anyway, guys, you can get 20% off Elite prices using the code Linus. You can try out the Elite service. I'm just going to take this out of my ear. It makes it really hard for me to talk when I'm listening to myself the whole time. Anyway, you can try out their Elite service. There's no commitment trial. I believe it's about 1 week long. I don't necessarily fully recommend the ad-supported free version because it serves ads to you in a very, very forthright way, so I would definitely recommend checking out Elite. It's really not that expensive, especially if you're using it for something like Netflix and you're able to watch some really great shows with it and stuff like that. So our second...
One guy in the chat just said VPNs are illegal but worth it. VPNs are not illegal.
Yeah, what you talking about, Will? Oh, well, not here anyway.
No, I guess they might be somewhere.
Maybe somewhere they're illegal, but there you go.
Pretty damn sure they're not illegal in the States, and they're not illegal in Canada, and I can't think of anywhere in Western Europe where they're legal, and I don't think they're legal in Scandinavia.
Oh, hey, actually someone has another benefit for VPNs. It's a great way to get Steam keys from other countries.
Yep.
Oh, there you go. There's one I didn't actually even think of, so there's one more. All right, guys, you can also buy an Intel Core i5... Which one's the 5? Which one's the 7?
This one's
5, yes! Core i5 4670K or Core i7 4770K and get... So buy this or this, get a free copy of Rome 2 Total War. So all you have to do is buy it from a qualifying retailer. I believe Newegg, Amazon, I know NCIX. There should be a couple of other ones, but those are the ones that actually managed to get us links to their pages. So you'll be able to find a link under the archive to where you can pick up a copy of Rome 2 Total War by grabbing one of those processors. A great deal that I often do with people is, hey, or used to, back when I had any time at all, is, hey, I'll build your computer for you. In exchange, can I have the free games that come with your graphics card and your CPU? And I would often get like a small library of new games to play by doing that for people from time to time. So, yeah, there's a lot of talk about how Rome 2 Total War isn't the greatest game ever, but if it's free, then it's free.
It'll probably be one of the greatest free games that doesn't make you buy things to win.
Yeah, actually, that's true.
Because it's actually a free whole game. Instead of like, here's a free game, 40% of it's missing, buy it. Yay.
Someone thinks Linus flipped off the stream. I did not.
You
did it once.
You forced me
You
to.
did it!
You forced me to.
Yeah, because I'm so strong that I could force you to do something
well, you used
physically.
your whole arm and hand
I
to
guess
pull
I've
down a
forced you
single
to do
finger.
things physically before. All right, so moving on to our next topic, Riot Games. Speaking of forcing people, bans their players, professional players that stream Dota 2, what is this?
Those are some of them.
Heart of the Swarm?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay, because I was like, oh, this is a list of MOBAs, but that's not a MOBA. But
MOBA,
right.
something else, and any MOBA.
Yeah, and any MOBA. So Riot is basically including in their new contract a clause that says you may not stream competing games, and there's actually a specific list of games. And there is a fair amount of debate right now online about whether this is an okay thing for them to do, or whether this is a big load of cow pie. Let's get your take first.
So mine is it. When I first read it, I was like, "Wow, that's bullcrap!" Go
to war with the keyboard.
Because I read a very sensationalist version that someone had linked me, which wasn't this. And what it was basically saying is no League of Legends player is allowed. This is what the sensationalized version was saying, not the real version. Was no League of Legends player is allowed playing other games.
Okay, so to be clear, guys, this is how the rules actually go down. So the following companies and or products are not to be advertised during or adjacent to League of Legends content during the term. I mean, remember, you're signing a pro... I mean, if you played in the NBA and you're all like, yeah, well, hey, I'm off court right now, so hey, I'm gonna go
But that's not even
play
the
in a different
point, because
basketball
it says,
league or whatever.
No, it says adjacent. Where
Yeah.
is it? It's like you can go play these other games.
Yeah,
I
you
have
just,
no problem with that.
You just can't advertise and stream them.
Yeah, and then this brings into the equation. My notes on here somewhere is streaming free time? Because when you're signed up with League of Legends, you're streaming to promote the whole idea.
Yes.
So that's the point. So your streaming isn't actually free time. You're working.
Yes. So and it's only specific games. Yep. So no Blizzard, which is
Blizzard just gets completely crushed.
Goes to show you what the relationship is like between Riot and Blizzard at this point in time.
Yeah.
Valve's okay, except Dota 2, because it's a direct competitor to LoL. I don't think anyone actually calls it LoL, do they?
Well, yeah, some people do.
All right. Heroes of New Earth, not okay. Rise of Immortals, etc., 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 etc. Most of these make a fair bit of sense.
Some of them don't really, but most of them do. And there's some that I'm surprised aren't on here. And like you can still play other games, because someone brought up, oh, well, that's going to make all streams boring, because what are you supposed to do during the like 30 to 40 minute queues that are possible at really, really high ranks? Because sometimes there isn't enough really, really high ranked people to actually get into a game altogether.
Right.
And it can result in these huge queues. These are the only games they can't play. They can still go play games.
Yeah.
I used to watch a streamer that used to emulate super old games and play like NES classics in between his games, and that was awesome.
So, I mean, honestly, this isn't as restrictive as I would have thought. So they have the list of games that you can't stream, and then they also have, so no gambling, no OTC, or no prescription drugs. So OTC drugs are even okay. You can pimp Advil all day if you feel like it. No firearms, handguns, or ammunition. No websites displaying or related to pornography or pornographic products, and no tobacco products. I mean, they're leaving a lot in play here that many professional athletes don't have. You're even allowed to promote alcohol.
Yeah, you could have like drunk streams or whatever.
Yeah, you can have drunk streams. You could have like drunk streams with like I don't know, what can people do with, like, Red Bull and vodka and throw some OTC pills in the mix, and, like, you can have all kinds of fun on your stream if you really want to. It's just a matter of not being allowed to do a few specific things and stream directly competing games, and I can understand that. I mean, so back to the NBA example, the NBA gonna let you go, and with a few notable exceptions, things like the Olympics, where they allow it, but that's exactly it. It is at their discretion. They allow it. They allow you to participate in another league's tournament play because you are sort of an asset for them, and you have to respect that. I mean, there was a hockey player that was killed in a motorcycle accident here in Canada a few years back, Luc Bourdon, and what got talked about a fair bit here was he shouldn't have been on a motorcycle. Because his contract states he may not ride a motorcycle in the off-season. Because he's not allowed to injure himself. Because he's an asset to his team. And he has a contractual obligation to not hurt himself.
And they're not going that crazy. And one thing, I think a lot of people expected me to be on the other side. And I might have been if there wasn't a few certain things. One of them was the very specified games list. Apparently you do have AdBlock
Apparently I do have AdBlock. I didn't install it. Must have been Edsel.
It was probably Edsel.
Because he was using this as an editing machine.
Yeah.
Alright, well, I'm turning it off. I don't know how to turn it off. I've never used it!
I've never used it either. I couldn't tell you. You can uninstall it.
Sure, I'll uninstall it.
I know how to
uninstall
it.
now.
I don't know how to turn it off.
Okay, you talk about what you think about this while I stream me uninstalling it.
Okay, sounds good.
Alright.
So, what the hell was that? Anyways, so I think a lot of people expected me to be on this other side, but I wouldn't have if there wasn't certain things in place, like the list of games, which specifically was like, you can't play these ones. You can still play other games, just not these ones. And that's while you're streaming. They allow you to play whatever the heck you want while you're not streaming. And then they also bring up that they want to drive it forward this way to be able to supply things like salaries and more intense sponsorships and more solid, basically, like a more solid situation where you're not constantly worried about your quote-unquote employment. Is they have to start doing stuff like this. Go to your, what?
I don't know how to uninstall it.
Doesn't it just have like a Chrome add-ons thing? No. Go to the Chrome add-ons thing.
Remove from Chrome? Can I do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
All right. Yay! Linus removed AdBlock that he didn't actually know how to do. Okay.
So, like, I think Yeah, they're limiting their players. But one thing that I've noticed in the esports community is someone wants to get into esports, but then they're scared. They're like, oh, I might be good enough to get on a team and start playing professional. Not me, but I'm saying someone else. But they're like, oh, there's no future in this because it's so volatile. If I lose a few tournaments in a row, I might be gone. I think they're trying to make the whole situation a lot more stable. They're trying to make it so sponsorships are bigger. They're trying to make it so that their sponsorships can be bigger because they can rely on these people to...
I didn't know it's a plugin.
Yeah, I was trying, what are you doing?
I didn't know. I thought maybe it was something you actually just install. I thought it was an application. All I know is I don't use it because it hurts content creators.
I've never used it either. Look, it's not on my laptop, but like, of course it was a plugin.
I don't know, man. Anyway. Someone says, apparently Riot reversed the statement. That's interesting.
Either way, honestly, I'm not even against it. Because they're stepping into a more professional space. It's kind of awkward when you see a League of Legends player trying to compete in a different game anyways.
Right.
When they're like supposed to be training for a tournament and they're like, oh, you're playing Han or Dota. It's like, what? I don't know.
Alright, well, let's
move forward because apparently it doesn't matter anymore.
I hate this laptop.
Just drag that.
Wow, that is so ridiculous. Alright, so guys, this is awesome. I think you'll probably love this. If you haven't already seen it, it's amazing.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, how's it going over there, man?
It's incredible.
Oh, I'm so jealous. Have fun.
You want to see something cool?
Yeah, sure.
Here, give me your number. Say it.
Okay, it's 543 677.
Who has a 6-digit number?
Oh my god.
Hello.
Hey, pretty lady.
Hey.
Alright, so basically it's 2.5 minutes of that, and it's like the most brutal thing ever. It went semi-viral, so it's got 2.1 million views. It looks like Samsung has disabled comments now on the video. They were enabled back when I was looking at it. They have also they've disabled likes and dislikes because it had about an 8-to-1 dislike to like ratio last time I looked at it. And it is just absolutely brutal. It's like... there's a club scene later where he uses the watch to basically pick up this chick at a ski lodge.
Which is...
not...
If you're having trouble picking up girls, buy a Samsung Gear. Because this is true. It will work. I promise you, don't believe me, I promise you that this will work. It literally has a female attractivity magnet built in. It's like a gyro stabilizer, but it stabilizes them towards you.
And I love how he was wearing the watch over top of a ski glove.
Was he?
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's like, what? What are you doing?
And he drops his phone, and he's like, oh wait, it's probably miles away. I'll track it with my watch, because I don't want to bend down and look exactly where it is.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Okay, maybe we're not quite done.
I'm so sorry.
Don't worry. It's somewhere there. I got it.
No, it's cool. I'll find it.
I'll find my phone.
Oh, you mean it's directly down? Oh my god, that was difficult.
You mean that thing that I could have just had someone call me so that I could find it? You know, the way that we used to do it in the Dark Ages?
Yeah, sure.
Considering you're standing here right now.
Alright, so the boyfriend spills a drink. Ah, yes, he spills a drink because he's taking his phone out of his pocket.
Oh my god. I'll be right there.
And then they were like,
perfect,
what?
Jack.
Are you already on a call? Because he's just like, blah, blah, blah.
I don't even know, man. It's brutal.
And then the phone that was mysteriously on the other side of the thing, she's like, where's the music coming from?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my.
There's too much epic. You can't
I
leave.
know.
You should have just played the whole video.
I'm sorry. I should have just played the video. Okay, so they're out having their little romantic thing here. Here we go. Right. Oh, I don't hear the sound anymore for some reason. That's weird. I wonder if I got unplugged. Nope. Okay, well, whatever. He plays a song on the watch, and then she's like, where's that music coming from? It's like my phone. And it's like over there. Because you leave your phone on, like, a railing when you're having an intimate moment out on a like, balcony thing. Here. So, like, yeah, play.
Where's this music coming from?
On my phone.
Yeah, genius. It's like when I'm at a ski lodge, I go out of my way to leave my phone as far away from myself as I possibly can, in plain sight.
So basically, Samsung needs to buck up and get us to make all their commercials now.
Yeah. We've made better Samsung commercials than that one.
Yep.
Actually, we've made much better Samsung commercial, Apple. Let's just have a look. Oh yeah, that's probably not going to bring it up. MacBook. There we go. Yeah. Let's watch it. It's like 3.5 minutes long. Okay, it's too long. Whatever. Anyway,
These guys make commercials that are way too long.
If you look for the upgrade your MacBook or notebook with a Samsung SSD commercial, then you can definitely check that out. All right, so we've got our next topic. This was an article on The Verge. Actually, speaking of exciting Verge-related stuff, we are hopefully going to have Joshua Topolsky joining us on the WAN show. So he's the editor-in-chief of The Verge.
We should dress up in suits or something.
I don't know what to do, but it's definitely going to be a special occasion. So we are hoping sometime in January, but it really depends on his schedule. But we are in the planning stages.
Should dress up in suits and have apple juice in wine glasses and yes.
No, I don't think we should do that.
Yes.
Growing up gamers, should your child play classic games? Is parenting the key to preservation of the classics? Now, this is actually, and we've had this conversation before, where I was like, you know what? Maybe what I should do is I should only give my kid, because, okay, I've always, after Super Nintendo, I've always been one generation behind for consoles. I usually, I actually own PS2, Xbox 360, Super Nintendo. I own a PlayStation 1.
Don't you have one?
No, I don't have a PS3 anymore. Got rid of it.
Oh.
So I actually own quite a collection of consoles, but I only buy them once they're like $70 and the new generation one's out, because I figure if I'm always a full generation behind, then I always have a full library of games for that console to justify my $70 investment.
And they're usually super cheap games at that point. And
yeah, everything's super cheap. It's a super cheap way to get access to exclusive titles, and because I'm so far behind, then I'm enjoying them at the same rate other people are. I'm just, it's 8 years at this point, so this was a bit of an anomaly.
Yeah.
8 years behind. So if I were to have the only gaming system in my house be a Super Nintendo, would that bother a kid? They would have the same childhood gaming experience that I did. But the flip side of that is that even necessarily right? Who cares? Just because I had that experience and it was great for me doesn't mean that it's the be-all and end-all. Could they grow up playing, Mario Kart 8? Thank you. And new Super Mario Brothers 3D World, or whatever the new one's called.
That looks so cool.
It actually does look like a lot of fun. You're getting a Wii U, right? Yeah, that figures. I want to play it, by the way.
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
We should do some after party stuff. Because it would be really a lot easier to hook up.
Yeah, we could totally get that set up here. Now that the whole setup actually works, we could just plug right into there, and we're volume adjustments.
And the old Wii controllers and old Wii games work on it.
So Twitter blitz us, guys. Hit us with your thoughts on should your child play classic games. But in the meantime, what do you have to say about this?
So my thing is that it's kind of like old movies and old music and old cars and old everything. They're art forms in their own respect, and my thing is I like how the guy that wrote that article did it, because he exposed his kids to it, but then let them enjoy it. He didn't force it upon them. He just kind of showed them. Like, he showed them an old arcade cabinet for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I think it was.
Yeah.
But then he kind of let them journey into it, and he didn't force them to stay there, but they ended up playing through the whole thing because they enjoyed it. I like that aspect, because you shouldn't force something on someone, because if you force old games on kids, they're automatically not going to like them.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be like, oh my god, what is this? But I think you should just expose them, because history's in this form, that's interesting history in my mind.
But is it culturally relevant anymore? I mean, that's another thing to consider, is there'll be things like payphones that will, even though the gameplay might still be excellent. So, I mean, I guess something like Final Fantasy VI would be an example of an excellent gameplay, excellent story, and still not culturally irrelevant, because it doesn't make a lot of pulp culture references, and it doesn't have cell phones in it, or, well, lack of cell phones.
Yeah.
Wait, it does have a lack of cell phones. Oh no! Anyway, it doesn't have, like, payphones in it. It doesn't have things like that. Whereas a lot of older games would make references to things games that just aren't relevant anymore and might not be relatable.
Yes, but then at the same time, you've got if your kid is exploring by playing this game, if they're interested in games in general, and then they're exploring because they want to play that. If you kind of just sit there by them while they're playing, they could be like, "Daddy, what's that?" And then it's interesting. Like we learn things constantly that happened in the past. And it helps us understand things about the future. That's kind of how history works, because history repeats itself. Blah, 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 blah. And you can just learn like where we came from, and like understanding the beginning of something often makes you understand how other things work. Like everything's built into your phone now, but what's a level? Like unless you actually see a level, like an old school level, what's a level? Because your phone can be a level.
It doesn't work very well.
Well, they will at some point, probably. But you're right. I don't think they work very well right now. But like once that kind of stuff becomes not as relevant, understanding how it works, you kind of need to see where it came from. Like original computers are way more interesting in my mind than like this laptop. You can take apart this laptop and it's like, okay, there's some stuff. Older computers, you can be like, oh, so that literally travels along this and goes to that, and blah, 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 blah. And it's interesting to see where it came from, because it's like, oh, okay, a graphics card is a lot more than I kind of realized it was.
Right.
When you finally see, like, oh, this was the thing that made graphics before. It did a lot, and you can see how everything flows, and, like, it's basically an entire computer in itself. A lot of people don't necessarily understand that. So, I don't know. I think if they're interested, they'll dive deeper. But it's also, like, if your kid doesn't give a crap about video games, do you really need to force it on them?
No, I don't think so at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess this is one of the other real questions here is, are older games better?
It depends on what you like more.
I mean, I recently played the remake of Another World. Have you played that before?
I don't think so, actually.
Okay, anyway, there's a remake of it on Android, and it's infuriatingly difficult. It's adventure game logic. So basically, there's only a few actions. There's fire, and there's I think there's like duck and jump maybe, and then you can move back and forth. Like there's only like 2 buttons you can press the whole time pretty much, and it's a puzzle. And a lot of the time, I found myself frustrated, even in the remake, by there not really being hints that I understood. So, for example, there's one spot where, spoiler alert, okay, there's one spot, mind you, it's like a 20-year-old game, but anyway, there's one spot where you're supposed to look into a disco ball and see a guy walking underneath it and time it so that you shoot out the disco ball so it hits him, okay? To me, the disco ball looked like it was spinning and glinting. So I didn't get that puzzle. I had to look it up. And I'm just like, well, if I didn't understand the puzzle, how can I be expected to solve the puzzle? But on the other hand, the ones that I did figure out on my own that were similarly difficult and ridiculous were much more gratifying than a modern game. And that's something that feels like it's missing from modern gaming.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And another thing to appreciate and understand is that, especially with the NES era, like original Nintendo Entertainment System, not even SNES to the same degree, but the original NES they added time to complete by making it more difficult. So to make a game longer, they would make it so you had to practice on a boss. You weren't expected to kill him the first time like you are with modern games.
Quick time event, press X to not lose.
Yeah, basically. Now it's like, oh no, you died because you didn't know that attack animation. Now you know that attack animation, you go at him again, you make it to the next attack animation, and then you die. And then you try it again. Like, you have to progress. So that's different, and it's that whole thing where like kids can't fail in school anymore.
Yeah.
A lot of times you can't fail in a video game anymore. If I die in a modern video game, I'm like, what?
Yeah, and I find I'm actually just playing Batman Arkham Origins now. I finally started it. Yeah. I finished Arkham City. So Batman Arkham Origins, I'm at the whatever his stupid name is. No, it's not a spoiler. It's a boss fight.
Okay.
Whatever. It's the Death something?
Death?
Arkham Origins boss fight. There we go. Deathstroke. So it's the Deathstroke boss fight, and basically this boss fight is one long QuickTime event. So you just have to time it. And at the normal difficulty level, which I'm used to playing at, I would typically when I gamed more, I'd play first-person shooters on hard, and I'd play anything else on kind of normal. So I'm playing on normal, but unlike Arkham Asylum, which I don't think had telegraph and little like notifications on normal difficulty, Arkham Origins does. So they've actually dumbed it down, even in the last like 3 years, 4 years, however long it's been since Arkham City. But I kept, as an older school gamer, I kept looking for a quick way to beat him. Like in Super Mario World, you know, any of the bosses. Okay, even the first boss, Iggy, on the little platform that goes back and forth. You can either jump on him and then like jump on him and kind of fight back and forth, or, and you can do high jumps and try to knock him off, but the timing might not work and it might shift and you might go the other way. Or, if you have the mad skills, you can just jump on him and do low jumps. Hop, 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 boom, and then do a long jump on the last one and land yourself right back in the middle of a platform. There's a fast way. With this boss, there's no fast way.
With certain bosses, you could even just sprint the whole time and he'd jump and you run under him.
Yes.
If you're ballsy enough.
And that was old school Super Mario Brothers. But with this one, it's just like, no, you just have to have the 10 minutes or whatever of patience to sit and wait for the telegraph and block it, and then don't retort too soon, and because then he has an unblockable thing. And like, to me, that's not entertainment. I mean, it's very cinematic, but if I wanted cinematic, I'd go watch the Batman movies, which frankly are better.
Yeah, to be complete, well, it's because that's what they're designed to do. I was talking to someone the other day because they asked me why the heck I keep on buying old school games, and what did I just buy? Shadow something. Not Shadowgate. No! I'm not going to remember the name of it now. I thought it was Shadow something. Anyways, I just bought some super old school NES game. And they're like, why do you keep buying that? And it's like, well, a lot of times I have more fun with these.
Yeah.
Than the newer games, because they're really super challenging. And from what I'm finding with the newer games, I'm enjoying stuff like Skyrim, where it's just like super crazy exploration and all that kind of stuff. Not like the shooters as much. Because we've had Call of Shadow Duty 19, and I'm kind of done with it.
Right.
Indie games, too. Indie games are becoming super interesting. I noticed this year, compared to so many other years, a lot of people's, a lot of game reviewers' top 5 and top 10s or whatever, heavily populated with indie.
Right.
Like, quite heavily. And, game of the year, a lot of the times, indie games. Other than the people that were like, Bioshock Infinite, Tomb Raider, blah, 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 just everything everyone expects.
All the AAA stuff.
Yeah, people that tried to mix it up at all, it was just tons of indie stuff, which is really interesting.
All right, so let's go ahead to our Twitter Blitz that we wanted people to weigh in on. Woo, 188, look at that. Oh, 201 more, all right. This is definitely something people want to talk about.
Morrowind, yeah.
Morrowind, yeah. And you know what? The thing about older, more difficult games is I went into Morrowind having already played Oblivion. So I was never an Elder Scrolls player.
It's hard to go
I
back.
quit Morrowind after 10 minutes. Because I was like, this is stupid. Because I went the wrong way down a path and got, crushed. I'm like, well, what?
Especially from Oblivion to Morrowind, it's hard to go back. Because of, the quest system back then was not as matured as it is now.
No, it was write it down.
Yeah, write it down, or your dude writes it down in a journal, in an unordered list in a journal. It's as things happen. So, good luck. If you got the expansions, it updates the quest system. But if you didn't, it's still the old school way. And that's just way too hard for some people. I enjoyed it because I just kind of wandered and explored. But.
For the longest time, I thought this guy's name was, making fun of me, saying that I was a sellout.
Yeah.
Linus Forsell. No, his name Linus Forsell. That's okay. I think it'd be great to introduce them to the older generation of games. That way maybe they can also appreciate the change. And that is actually the approach that I was talking to him about, where I was like, well, maybe what I'll do is I'll, on an accelerated path, let them have access to first SNES, then N64, then, GameCube, then... something, and then at the end, we finish with the epitome of gaming systems, which is the Dreamcast. And then that way, they can appreciate the evolution. Sorry, I can't even keep a straight face. So they can appreciate the evolution, even if they don't have to wait 5 or 8 years in between consoles. I mean, that might be an interesting approach, but really, what's the point of forcing them? So
yeah.
What if the other kids their age have more recent titles and consoles? Will they feel left out or excluded? I don't think so, because they can play those games at their house, and because they're going to be playing old school games, they're going to kick so much ass that they'll be able to master those games in the time that their friends are still figuring out what a QuickTime event is. I mean, as someone who played predominantly SNES games, it's not like I ever had difficulty going to a friend's house and playing on a PlayStation.
No, it's really easy, especially when if you're used to something harder, it's easier to learn the new things. New, easier things.
Michael figures a mix is good. So, who's this? Tom says, classics are more accessible to kids as concepts and are simpler. If you want to encourage them to play games, it would be a start. It's interesting because in some ways the classics are more accessible. In other ways, so I would say they are easier to sit down and play, like to learn the basic mechanics, but they are definitely more difficult to beat in many cases. So something like an arcade-style game, you know what? Your kid could probably beat the first level of Turtles in Time, you know, very easily, very quickly. But good luck beating it on a single life.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I just remember the game I got. It was last night. It was Nightshade from 1992. Just check out that cover.
Wow, the cover itself is bad. Well, they can't see it, so hold on a minute.
Nightshade. Oh my god. And I remembered it because of what he said. He said the concepts are simpler. The concept in Nightshade is not simpler. Nightshade is confusing as hell and really difficult to play. But there are some games that are very simple concepts. Like the old Mario games are relatively simple concepts. You go to the other end. And you don't run into things while you're going to the other end.
And don't fall down the hole.
And don't fall down the hole. And like fairly simple concepts, but there's also stuff like Nightshade, which is like gonna repeatedly kick your butt, essentially.
All right, back to our Twitter blitz. New games are good, but we as gamers lost patience to play the way we used to play.
That's
There's
true.
no way we'll play the same boss 10 times over. You know what? You're probably right, because I have continued. Well, let's see. This is lack of patience, but also lack of patience with the new way of like sitting through things. Yeah. But I'm kind of stuck on that Deathstroke boss fight. I've done it about 10 times now because I keep just being like, well, no, there like must be a faster way, and there just isn't.
My thing is like, there's a new pack. Well, it's not that new, but there's a new like Pac-Man style game, which is all based around. There's different maps and stuff, and it's all based around getting a huge train of ghosts because it's not just the 4. And there, you can make these massive trains, and when you eat the fruit and turn around and eat them all, you make this like huge combo. And it's very mechanical, and while you're playing, you're really focused the whole time because you're planning paths and all this kind of stuff, and it feels very old school. And I feel that the same way. You can't just sit there and be like, oh, I'll be really good at it this time, and like I'll try this new thing, and I'll swing this way and do that kind of stuff with a QuickTime event. Because you're just like...
Right.
It's not the same. If it's like you are in full control and you just need to be better... I find it more driving, and then you way more accomplishing when you beat it instead of like, yeah, I sat here for 10 minutes and I won. Like, who cares? I don't know.
All right, so Mango Juice Stain figures game developers these days don't care about storyline or graphics or gameplay as much as graphics, and I don't necessarily think that's true. I mean, look at someone like Telltale Games. Speaking of which, is Wolf Among Us episode 2 out yet?
I think so.
Oh, sweet.
I'm pretty sure like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. But yeah, I think it depends on coming after the holidays.
After the holidays?
I thought it came out.
Hey! Come on! Couple new screenshots available.
I guess it was more information came
Those
out.
bastages. At least Walking Dead Season 2's out, though. I'm going to play that. I have a pass for it.
Nice.
Anyway.
But yeah, it depends who you're looking at. A lot of indies, too, are focusing a lot more on storyline than anything else, to be honest. It's just AAAs focusing on graphics.
All right. Glass Bomb figures I would show my future kid the retro games. I'd want them to appreciate the older ones. Ben makes a good point. I think classic games are being redefined as the world progresses. I mean, what is classic? There's actually a great song. I don't even remember who it's by, and I'm going to look it up, but here we go. Bowling for Soup, 1985, where the chorus is like, when did Motley Crue become classic rock? Because it's about like this mom who's getting older, and it's like, where the hell did the time go? But I mean, you know, at some point, Far Cry 3 will be a classic game.
Yep.
Think about that for a moment. And everything else will be like old crap that no one watches anymore. And with the odd exception, like ones like Sonic the Hedgehog might be immortal to the point where the really old Sonics on the Genesis still get played at some point in the future once in a while. But it's more as a curiosity. It's kind of like how you'd go into a DVD rental store back when those existed. Haha, speaking of things that have gone away. And they would have like one copy of Casablanca. And they'd have one copy of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. And that would be like the classic movies section. So there will be the few immortal ones, but for the most part, the classics will change and evolve in time. I mean, at some point, is Anchorman going to be a classic? I mean, some people would make the argument Anchorman is a classic, but you can't call that a classic movie with a straight face. But then maybe 30 years from now, people who grew up seeing Anchorman, you know, is Dumb and Dumber a classic?
That's interesting. Maybe. People still talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, yeah. Funny you say the whole rental movie store thing, because that's where I buy my old games.
Yeah.
Willow Video, as in they like rent out videos. It's weird.
It's
I
kind
only
of
ever see
amazing.
people buying games there though, so I don't know.
All right, well, I think that's pretty much it. I'd like to wrap things up with a reminder, guys, that we are going to be at CES. Actually, next week is going to be the last WAN show before we leave for CES, and then we will be off for a week because we'll be down at the show, and we will be tired. We will be extremely tired if, by some miracle, we manage to figure out a way to stream a WAN show that day. I'll let you guys know on Twitter, so make sure you're following at Linus Tech. But yeah, no, it's going to be tough. Anyway, our sponsors for the show are NCIX. They are actually our gold sponsors, so they are sponsoring the bulk of our team to be there, which is extremely expensive. I mean, it's airfare, it's hotel, it's food, it's cell phones, it's all those things that we have to do to make this happen, and they are being a big help there. And then our two co-silver sponsors are Corsair and Western Digital, so those guys are enabling us to actually make some money while we're down there, which is something that we actually need to do in order to make shows like this, and the equipment that we need to have our shows work correctly. I found out from Mark why his mic wasn't working right. He didn't click apply to change over his mic, so it was like the integrated mic. And it was our fault. We didn't do a test call with him, so it was totally not his bad there. I feel really bad about that. But for the most part, technical difficulties are getting better on the show. You might have noticed we didn't drop any frames today. There was no glitchiness on the stream, and if the image quality looks pretty good, that's probably because it is. We've got a new camera going. We've got a dedicated internet connection in here just for streaming, so there's all that. We need companies to sponsor us in order to make that kind of thing happen. And I do have one last sponsor message from WD, and that is their WD Fan Night. So we're going to be there. I actually talked to the NCIX Tech Tips guys, and it sounds like they might try to be there as well.
Cool.
That would be pretty cool, but you are invited to the WD Fan Night. If you go to wdpromotion.com and /WD Fan Night, if you're going to be in Vegas, if you're going to be at CES, then you should definitely check this out. I'm going to tweet it out right now. We will be there. We'll just kind of be hanging out, being WD fans and all that. Let's go ahead and, hey, if you're going to be, and see, this is the process. This is how I like tweet. Vegas Jamie. Nope, actually, we don't need to tweet at Vegas Jamie. Okay, if you're going to be in Vegas during CES, check out WD Fan Night. We will be there. See you there. Winking, smiley face. You know, if you ever want to feel ridiculous about sort of the new age, non-classic way that you type these days, say it out loud to yourself.
Winking, smiley face.
How creepy is that?
The winky smiley face is never accidentally put.
No,
it's always very intentional.
Always intentional. You know what's actually changed in meaning a little bit over the last little while that sort of means I miscommunicate sometimes a little bit? The sticking out your tongue smiley face used to be more of a her wasn't that silly. Whereas now it seems to be more of a disrespectful and or dirty thing. Yeah,
some people, I find it like certain people, it's split right now.
Yeah.
I know you use it as a funny thing. I have a few other friends that use it as a funny thing. But then I have a whole different category of friends that are like, it's either insulting or dirty. So it's split into two and it's really confusing and I just don't use it. because I get so lost as to who I'm talking to and what opinion they have on it. I'm just like, nah, nope.
Because you know what? It's funny is it depends on the way that the animation is drawn. Because when it's just colon and then a P, it looks kind of like.
Derp.
You know, like a silly thing. And older chat programs like ICQ and MSN had a silly animation for it. Whereas now you look at some of the newer ones and it looks more like, you know, like blowing a raspberry. And I think it really just depends on how they animate the drawn ones more than on how the actual ASCII characters look.
I've noticed the most ridiculous one is Google Chat. All the Google Chat faces are what is even happening here?
I know. I forget what it was.
Open one with me.
Yeah, I'll open one with you. But I think
even that big smiley face is just like, what?
The big smiley face makes no sense to me. It's like, what? Why? Why? And then like the right, and then the sticking the tongue out one is like sad. It's like,
and then there's a slash face one, which is like wow.
They look like they're melting. Hold on, let me just search for something here so that I won't have to. That's probably all fine for the most part.
I think it's okay.
Yeah, all that looks okay. Okay, I'll screen share. So this is what we're talking about here, but like these are just ridiculous. I don't think, and for some reason this doesn't even have one, but I'm sure they'd find a way to screw that up. The surprised one, that one looks more like
a kissing face.
Yeah, I don't know what that's supposed to be. Let's see, what else is there?
I don't do way too many smiley faces nowadays.
Oh yeah, right. The colon S, which should be confusion,
is like super sad,
like super disappoint. And you know what's funny is the Google Talk ones used to be really good. They used to be like little animated ones.
That's :3.
The crying one is okay, but it used to be animated. It used to be awesome. Unless that was a labs thing.
:3 is a cat, for whatever reason.
Okay, no, that kind of makes sense, I guess. All right, I think we're obviously done the show here at this point, so we should probably just
Hold up. In the after party, we are going to be reforming the way that we do build logs.
Oh, yeah.
I bet you there's people yelling for build logs right now. It's crazy and doesn't make a lot of sense the way we're doing it right now, so in the after party, I'm going to be taking a whole bunch of suggestions from everyone, and we're going to be cataloging all of those suggestions, and then I'm probably going to have a vote. We're not necessarily going to use the vote. I'm just going to see kind of where interest lies on all the different suggestions. And then we're going to explore the idea of changing how we pick build logs. Because we have a lot of ideas. And I'm going to throw my ideas into the suggestion list. But we want to get ideas from everyone else. So link to the after party is twitch.tv/Luke_LAFR. I'm sure someone will post it in the chat. But yeah, we're going to talk about that in the after party, and I think, are we doing something else in the after party?
Yes, we are. We have the winner for HTC Spare Change for the video entry. I'm going to tweet out the random entry later on because, frankly, I forgot about it. And I was focused on judging the winner for the video entry. So this is for an HTC One, which is pretty sweet. So I'm going to go ahead and download this Excel sheet, open it, and of course that's going to take its sweet time.
I love how no one actually brought up build logs until I started talking about it.
And now they're like,
now everyone is spamming build logs.
Give the build logs!
But I obviously don't have any because we're reforming it, so I don't know what you want me to do.
I hate this about Excel. Oh, this is so ridiculous.
What?
When something is so wide that you can't scroll to the end of it because it just goes like way past it.
Yeah.
Love that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and show some of the honorable mentions before we show the winners. So this first one is from Panda Diablo on the forum, also known as Lardtard Productions. Lardtard enters all of our giveaways, as far as I can tell, and is always a finalist.
Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
So the theme was change, and this is, you know, changing your diet, I guess. You know, trying to lead a healthier lifestyle. You know, I think we should end the stream, and then we should come back.
Sure.
And we should finish this up. So anyway, we'll do our outro, and then we'll be back in like a couple minutes.
Yep.